Welcome back to Tactical and Practical, brought to you by IntelliGems and Postscript. I'm joined by a stellar guest today, the best shit poster I know. He's also a pretty good e-commerce operator, CEO of The Ridge, Sean Frank. What's up, dude?
What's up, Nate? Yeah, I would put my order of priorities exactly that order.
Yeah,
Internet
everyone gets it
personality.
wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Dude, I want to talk to you about the journey from being a wallet company to being a lot more than that. Because I think the haters and the losers of the lamestream media a couple years ago would have said, Ridge is a wallet company. That's all it's ever going to be. Now you have multiple categories in your business that are probably bigger than most e-com stores. Um, and I know from talking to Connor a bit, you look at those new categories sometimes like it's either an acquisition tool or it's an LTV play. How do you kind of make that designation? How do you determine what's going to be great for acquisition versus just retention?
Yeah. Well, you're right about the haters. Like every time we went to go launch a product, everyone will tell you why something won't work.
Yep.
Very few people will ever go on a limb and be like, I will bet on that with you. That is totally going to work. So we have a saying at Ridge now, would you put your job on it? Like everyone will either pitch horrible ideas or try to talk you out of stuff. And it's like, really like, hey, how strong is your conviction on this? Um, I knew for a long time the biggest threat for this business was only selling wallets to people because wallets are a horrible category. Nate, believe it or not, watches are a better category because at least somebody might want to have two or four
Yeah.
or five, right?
Yep.
Wallets are a utility in the fact that like I need one, I don't care what it is, like,
Yep.
and I've described their product as the perfect uncle gift. Like you're going to Christmas, we're recording this like right before Christmas. You have to get your uncle something. You don't know what he really likes, what his size is. You don't know where he is in life. It's like, are you going to buy him a watch? It's like, oh, that's your watch is sort of $300. Like, probably not, but like, you can get a Ridge wallet on sale for $76. Kind of scratches every itch you might have. So,
Dude, I've gotten an uncle a wallet before. IntelliGems is your one-stop shop for profit optimization on your Shopify store. Whether you want to test headlines or copy or images or prices or personalized experience depending on where users came from, IntelliGems is all you need. And because of their help this year, we've been able to increase our conversion rate and our AOV while nearly doubling our site sessions. So go to IntelliGems.io, tell them I sent you, and you'll start adding dollars to your bottom line today. And you brought up watches, so I'll bring them up. Why didn't you make them out of wood? Wood watches are inherently better. I appreciate you not stepping on our toes too much, but
yeah, I think the fact that like, are you a watch company? Or are you mostly a wood company, right? And
yeah.
so like where we ended up being is, and I'll answer your original question. Um, how do we determine if something's a CAC product or an LTV product? First, we look at the marketplace we play in. We were the largest wallet company in America. We were the only wallet company in America. You know what we're a very small version of? An accessories brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are, probably 5 household names that are accessory first brands that are just behemoths of companies. I was talking about Coach being the biggest, but most of LVMH's revenue comes from women's leather handbags, right? That's a whole division. So like, and it is $10 billion a year or whatever, right? So really, what we need to be is an accessories brand. And what do accessories brands do, right? So I look at Mont Blanc, and we'll hyper focus on Coach. They just make a bunch of accessories. So I'm like, yeah, guys, it does. Our customers will not think it's weird if we make phone cases. They won't think it's weird if we make bags or travel. They won't think it's weird if we make knives or flashlights or whatever. Like, everyone's like, oh man, you've been able to expand the brand so far. I'm like, guys, I'm still in the same category, right? Like, Bic makes razors, pens, and lighters, right? It's because all that shit's plastic. It's like they just have a plastic factory, so they're going to make a bunch of plastic stuff. Like, if I started making carbon nanotubes for fucking airplanes, like, yeah, maybe it's weirder, right? But Ball makes mason jars and missiles, right? Like the actual scope of what a brand can do, I think, is a lot bigger than people want to give it credit for. How do we determine if something can actually work on acquisition versus be an LTV product? So the number one goal of the company is to try a bunch of different products in a bunch of different categories. Most things are just going to work as LTV products. We have 5 million customers who love us. We can launch something and they can buy it. You're in the watch space, that's an LTV product for us because there is not a large enough or growing TAM of customers to acquire who want watches. You've been able to do it. Fantastic. Good for you, Nate. The watch market is, I think it's $10 billion a year. And I think 9 billion of that is just 7 companies. It's like,
Yep.
it is the Swiss powerhouses and then Cartier. Cartier is like the only French one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
So, and then you, not even mentioning the Apple watches of the world, which is really the largest best-selling watch of all time. So, look, watches for us, we released them. At first, we're like, oh, we're going to make a product that works for acquisition. So we had a quartz movement, like we used, it was like a $500 price point. Like we tried to have a gimmick to it. We're like, okay, we're going to acquire customers with this. What we realized is that nobody wanted to buy our watch. So it was too hard to make it work on acquisition. Then we released an LTV watch, which we basically made a comp or equivalent to Huckberry and Timex did a drop, and it's like 600 or $800. So it's a titanium case, it has a Miyota movement. It's just a field watch, like really just trying to like nail those details. We did that watch at like $250. If you know about watches,
Yeah.
that watch cost $200 to make, right?
Dude, our internal Slack channel, when you launched that, we were all like, how are they possibly selling this watch for $250? Because we know like the quality of it was nuts. And we're like, oh, they're just not making money on that, I guess.
Yeah, it's an LTV product.
Yeah.
It's like it's a treat or reward for our customers. Where
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, dude, it goes above and beyond what you can buy at this price point. And like usually those watches, like if there's a couple boutique watch brands. I think RTA is one of them. Like they make that watch for like probably $500. We're like, we're just going to deliver all the value we possibly can. That's because watches for us are just an LTV category. So how do we find acquisition categories? Well, I think we have like 3 or 4 big ones. It depends on how you think about rings, but we have the EDC. So it's small metal things. So it's our core of our business right now. Over half the revenue is wallets and things that are kind of like wallets. How do we make that work on acquisition? We've just been doing it a really long time. I do not recommend anybody else try to sell wallets. Like it's a very hard category. But then we have, a small subset of EDC, which is rings. Rings work because there's a very large group of people who just need to buy a ring. So if you're getting married, your intent is at 0 and then it goes to 100 and then it goes back down to 0. So there's a massive group of people to just capture every single day. So that works for that. And then we have travel. Travel's a huge TAM, carry-ons, whatever else. And then we have tech. So we're really big in Best Buy. We're going to be in all of the mobile phone retailers, phone cases, cables, power bricks, whatever. Those are all our CAC categories. But I've been monologuing. What's up, Nate?
Well, so we think about kind of new product dev a little bit differently. We, at our size, are a watch company, and like we are happy to be a watch company for a little while. We think there's plenty of room to grow, just doing new watches, new partnerships, new styles. But the way that we think about kind of new category development is we're trying to find upsell products. We're trying to find things that I can put in cart and in checkout that we can upsell for between $50 and $100. Because I know the higher we can get our AOV, the more we can scale acquisition and ultimately sell more of everything. Do you ever go into a new category thinking specifically about upsells or thinking about AOV boosting?
Yeah. So I would say the 2 main categories we think about are all about transaction categories. So it's getting people into the brand for the first time or back to the website. We do have a category of products that like we consider like just add-on products. So with the wallet, it's all of the shit that goes into the wallet. So we have AirTag attachments, we have money clips, we have like bottle openers, we have a thing you can put on the front so it's easier to get your credit card. Um, all of those, like, complete the kit. And then the big one we've unlocked is the key case. So the wallet, we made a thing that kind of looks like the wallet for your keys, right? Um, maybe the equivalent for you guys would be a watch box, right? Like
Hmm.
if you guys have automatic watches, you might need a watch winder or something like that. That
Yep.
is like, you're selling an aesthetic. Now you can complete the aesthetic. That is the way what we unlock with the key case. We've been looking for the key case of rings for a while, so we're going to try a bunch of stuff in 2025 to see if we can nail that. And then travel's the easiest one because it's like people just want to carry on, people just want to check in, people just want a backpack. And then it's like you can get into power banks and then you can get into tech stuff, whatever else. So if I was you guys and I was thinking about expanding the brand, like I said, you guys are a wood company. I think I've told you you should be selling wood rings. I think you are.
Yep.
I would sell wood pendants, right?
Hmm.
Like wood dog tags, all of those. Like that's kind of the complete the look type thing. And then I would make an aggressive push into wood sunglasses, right? But you could also do, dude. I mean,
You just listed our top three upsell items, so perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, and then I would just get super aggressive with it, where I'm like, yeah, fuck it, we do coasters too. I'd be like,
Hmm.
we do basically anything that's easily giftable in the same aesthetic. There you go, man.
Going. Um, so we've expanded it into a lot of those groups and have had great success as an upsell item and as an LTV item. When we've tried to build acquisition funnels around those products, they're either they're usually not profitable, and then we don't see an LTV from people who buy our rings first or our sunglasses first. Seems like they never come back and buy a watch. Are you worried about these new category cohorts buying your other products at some point, or are you guys just profitable on acquisition on them, so that's not a big concern for you?
Yeah, here's the fundamental problem in your business is that additional categories need to be more expensive than your first category, and it's the same problem that hexclads run into, and I've advised them on the same thing where the second thing you launch has to have a higher AOV. So
Interesting.
so yeah, it
Which I was gonna bring up because you got me on the knife, by the way, which was expensive, and you didn't get me on the luggage because it was expensive. And maybe I'm poor, so that might be on me. You guys are obviously selling a ton of those, but I've been interested at your pricing strategy being so much higher than your wallets with those.
yeah, and it's you have to think about it like the people enter and then go down, right? It's very
Mm,
hard to enter and then go up. Um, Now, if you have a very aspirational brand, right, like the number one wallet company on earth is Louis Vuitton, and it's because it's the cheapest thing with a logo on it, so they enter there, or the belt program, right? They have an awesome belt program. It's so aspirational. People enter at the cheapest price and they try to move their way up. But what we found is that the highest LTV customer is a ring customer, someone who comes in off the ring and then they've already spent $200 to $300 on the ring. And then I'm like, hey, do you want to buy a wallet for $100? They're like, yeah, sure, why not? Do you want to buy a ring, a knife for $100? Like, oh, sure, why not? Like, they'll if you enter at a certain price, you can get LTV up in dollar amounts by going down, and you're gonna have a really hard time getting someone who just gave you $60, even if they love the product, to be like, okay, now give me 300, right?
yeah,
Give me
makes sense.
so if you guys wanted to have it like yes, like, and this is the biggest challenge because so few categories fit this, but like what can you make that's $1,000? You could obviously do a very very high end watch, but like let's try to think outside of watches. What can you make that's $1,000, right? um, because that would be a new acquisition tool, and those people would buy a ton of watches just by
Yeah.
the nature of their cart size.
If you're running an ecom brand, there are 1,000 things to focus on. And your SMS channel is one of those things. But fortunately for you, Postscript is only focused on one thing. They are only focused on being the best, baddest, most reliable SMS platform that ecom has ever seen. So if you're having trouble with your SMS partner, if you are looking for something that's going to be reliable as your business scales and the size of your list doubles and triples and quadruples, then Postscript is the place for you. Go to postscript.io, let them know I sent you, and start making money through SMS. Let's talk about the categories themselves. Why bags? Why pens? Why rings? Was it other than like you guys make things out of metal, so like it made sense from a manufacturing standpoint? Was there anything about those categories specifically that you were like, that's a category that's gonna blow up and we can kind of ride that wave?
No, anything I say will just be revisionist history. I like I get excited about all products. You could pitch me. I mean, dude, my house is just full of shit I buy. So like, you could pitch me any product, and I'd be like, oh yeah, we got to do that. That's amazing, right? The
When we talked
reality
a
is,
couple of years ago, I think you were thinking about socks.
oh, I launched them. They didn't work, right? So like, I spent $1 million launching a bunch of shit, and the stuff that you see on our website, the stuff that worked, right? Like phone cases, we put them on our website. Don't even send an email. Don't even run ads. They do $250,000 a month, and it's like, oh shit. I guess that's what people really want. Where I put socks on there. I have to spend $180,000 to do $250,000. Like there's just people didn't want them from us. So the categories I'm in are the categories I'm going to commit to. We're going to launch a bunch of products and we're going to make them be successful because there's so much customer demand for those things. But they're still hard categories. Like I would love to be selling creatine gummies or like something with inherent built-in LTV that you should take forever, right? None of our product categories I never ended up crossing that chasm, which I tried really hard. But yeah, any product you can get me excited about.
Yeah, love that. Most people who listen to this pod are marketers at ecom brands that do like less than 50 million a year. When is the right time to expand into new verticals? Because I think you guys had done hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue in wallets before you really started to branch out. Was there anything in your business? Was wallet growth slowing? Was there anything that made you believe and convicted that like now is the right time to start going after all these categories?
Yeah, so there's two distinct moments in company history. Probably in 2018, we had phone cases, we had backpacks, we had cables, we had all of these things. I think we even had a knife at the time. And we shut all that down because we didn't think it was successful enough, right? Like we did the first year we launched backpacks, we think we did $1 million that year and probably did 20 million in total revenue. And we were disappointed. We were like, oh, this sucks. How come it's not like the wallet? How come it doesn't sell as good as the wallet, right?
Yeah.
That was us being immature, right? So then we from 2018 to 2021, we removed all those categories and then we relaunched all those categories. In 2021 till now, we're back in all the categories we were originally in. We tried a bunch of new ones, but we found the ones we were in instinctually were correct. And the advice I would give to these brands is it's going to be more expensive than you think, and it's not going to work as well as you think, right? So go into that eyes wide open, that if you can launch a new category and it acquires net new customers that are different than your existing customers, and it can get to 5% of revenue in year one, massive W. Like, do not be fooled. Do not be looking for some moonshot. Like, physical goods are different than software. It's really hard to get this stuff done. If you can figure that out, that is a win. And you should do it when your core business is not at risk of imploding, because these things are not Hail Marys. They're not going to save you. They're going to be a big distraction. They're going to be probably 6 times as much work for 1/20th the revenue. The 5% rule probably should hold. So more work, less revenue. Yeah, probably $50 million is probably the threshold to start looking at, like, how you can get into these categories. Because if you do it at 10 or 20, there's not enough money on the table.
And there's not enough traffic to get a meaningful take rate on it. Like you said with phone cases, like you guys do $250,000 a month without trying, basically. It's just because of your levels of traffic. And if your levels of traffic are a 10th or a 20th of what Ridge's are, then that would really be a meaningless piece of your business.
Totally. Yeah, I think probably have like millions of people a month, a couple million people just on our website poking, and the people find the thing and they just buy it.
Yeah, it's wild. Wild. Well, all right, dude. This has been awesome, and I'm gonna ask you my question I ask every guest at the end of the pod. What's one thing about this you wished I asked you? What's one thing you think I might be missing still?
Um, well, if your audience is not your audience isn't brand owners, it's truly marketers who work with these companies.
No, it's founders and CEOs on there, but they're often wearing the marketer's hat.
Yeah. I would really just take a hard look at what do I want my career trajectory to be looking like, or the business to be looking like. Obviously, these past couple of years, there's been highs, there's been lows. It's been hard around for everybody. Um, I think like on a personal level. And so going into the next couple of years, it's like, yeah, what business are you actually trying to run, right? And why do you think it would get better? Because like Meta, how dependent are we on just Meta working? You know what I mean? So I just do some soul searching on that. It's like, am I in the role I want to be in? Am I being compensated the way I want to be in? Do I think the future actually looks brighter for the thing that I'm doing? Because I've talked openly, like all of my money has been made because of e-commerce. So I had no money 10 years ago, literally like very close to being homeless to owning a home now, right? Like
Nice,
it's,
congrats.
yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to be able to do that. Um, but if I was looking at the future in e-commerce, when I was in it, it felt like a blue ocean the whole time. And every year it just gets a little bit harder for like an emerging brand or a smaller brand, like the $50 million. And I would just think of like, what could I do that would make it easy again? And I would look for those wins. Because if you're just going to wake up every day and just, oh, I'm going to win the ad auction, like, oh, good fucking luck, man. Like that gets harder every time.
Awesome. Cool. Well, for those of you listening, you can follow Sean at Sean Ecom on Twitter and the Operators podcast. What else can people do? Go to rage.com and buy some shit.
Yeah, if you have an uncle in your life, we're a great gift. So probably too late for Christmas, but uncle birthdays, everyone celebrates.
Yeah, perfect. Dude, thanks so much for coming on.